Because you came away literally, and you were kind of half joking, but almost scratching your head, going, "How is he not actually still on the tour?"
Yeah, and it
was so. This is going out Tuesday. So last night, well, that's actually tonight for us.
Yeah,
a video with James Robinson, the golf pro James Robinson.
Yes, the one
who
we had on the podcast.
Yeah, we did a video where he played 9 holes at the Marriott Worsley Park with a package set that cost £70. That was a half set. It had driver, hybrid, 6-iron, 8-iron, pitch and wedge putter.
My predictions, when you're listening to this podcast, that video has probably already got 1 million views. Ooh. It was number 1 trending on YouTube for 3 days consistently. It's got potential to be a monster video.
Well, the logic behind this video was James Robinson, as I said, was on the podcast. So I'm guessing most people heard that podcast. He was a really good guest. He's got an amazing story. He's now a really good golf coach. Played in the Open, played on the European Tour. He looks like a golf pro as well, doesn't he?
He's...
I was on borderline annoyed at him when he came.
I've got a little bit of a man crush.
Yeah, I can see that.
On him, on his golf game, on his ability.
Give me 5 things like about James Robinson in no particular order. Go.
Golf swing is pure. I like the fact he doesn't think his game is good enough, yet it's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, 2.
Like, I really respect that. He's tall, dark, good looking.
Yeah.
Not that should massively influence things, but he is. It's fact. I don't know if I'm going to get 5 here. He's a nice family man.
Yeah.
Very much said about his son being like his best mate.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. And then lastly, he...
Could have gone for his teeth.
Yeah, he's got great teeth.
He was dressed really well.
Yeah.
He's got a fast car.
He's got a lovely car. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's one of my favourite people.
And the reason behind this video was that some people think that when you go out and buy really expensive golf clubs, they're going to make you really good at golf, right? Other people kind of go, oh, it doesn't matter what clubs you have, Tiger Woods could play with a whatever, and he'd still shoot under par. So we thought, well, I can see both sides of the argument. I can understand why people, after this amazing marketing that your TaylorMades and your Callaways pump out about speed foam and jailbreak, etc., how as a golfer you want to get better clubs because it's going to make you play better. But then you also can understand how if you've got a friend who's gone out and done that and still shanks it out of bounds or slice it onto the fairways, you think, well, the clubs don't make a difference. So we thought, well, if we give an ex-Tour Pro, for the purpose of the title of the video, we'll call him a Tour Pro still because we want clicks. Let's see how he gets on. Now, the funny thing was here that I think might even get a little bit overlooked from the title is not only was it a package set that wasn't the best quality, it was a half set.
Yeah.
So he literally, as I said, he had a driver and a hybrid, a couple of irons and a wedge. He had no sand wedge, no lob wedge. And actually, that pitching wedge, I bet, was about 44 degrees in loft. It was really strong.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give it away because some people might not have watched it. If you've watched it, you know what he shot. But he was incredible.
He made it look easy.
He did.
And he reminded, he doesn't play loads of golf right now. I mean, this is literally, he was talking about this is a practice round for Open qualifying for him in June. And it wouldn't surprise me if it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he hardly plays any golf. He's a busy golf coach now. And he just rocked up, hit a few shots in the net, and just went out there and just played incredible golf.
So did that, I mean, he played well, let's just say that, because I don't want to ruin it if people haven't seen it. He played well. Were you surprised?
Was I surprised? Let me have a think about this now. I didn't think he'd shoot the score that he did. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I was surprised about that. And I felt like he just had ridiculous control over his golf shots still. Mm-hmm. Like, there wasn't a part... Like, let's say... I'll tell you what I was surprised about. Because... when you're a Tour Pro and you're practicing every single day, you expect every single area of your game to be like perfect. Mm-hmm. Like long game, exceptional. Iron play, incredible. Short game, just to be absolutely fine-tuned. But because he's not playing loads of golf, I fully expected one of those areas in his game not to be as good.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any weakness.
But do you think that's because, well, he didn't show much weakness to be fair, but do you think that's because he's better than you? It's hard. Like, if somebody who's off 15 played with you, they would probably see no weakness. They'd be like, you hit it so well. Do you think that's because he's so good? Because you came away literally and you were kind of half joking but almost scratching your head going, how is he not actually still on the tour?
Yeah. And it makes me, I can't understand how difficult it must be for him to still play as good as he does, yet he knows he can't make it on tour.
Yeah.
Like, he's almost still so good. Like, if suddenly, all of a sudden, you're a tour pro and you get the yips and you can't putt or you can't chip or whatever, and you just go, okay, that's it. That's me done. Tour golf I cannot do because there's a part of me that I cannot get it in the hole in a less amount of shots. For him, if he could go out today and shoot 65 comfortably with his own clubs potentially, yeah, that's not enough. He couldn't do it in the big stage. He couldn't do it when he needed to potentially.
But like I said to you when we left, though, he was absolutely amazing. But although it was on camera and he literally every shot was completely genuine, like it literally was. What you see on the video was exactly what happened. He knew that potentially millions of people could watch it, but there was nobody there. There was no pressure, really, was there? If he shot 4 or 5 over, it didn't really make any difference. But imagine playing on the European Tour for your mortgage, for your car, for your food. It's totally different, isn't it?
Yeah, big time.
And even if he's only 2 shots off the person that's leading, 2 shots each day, if he's 2 shots behind, like each day, it drops 8 shots through a tournament off the winner.
I think there's a big correlation, and we've seen this from a couple of speaking to James and even Dan last week. You saw, and we're not going to get into loads of golf news. I didn't watch loads of it, but Stuart Sink won not last weekend, the weekend before, right? Mm-hmm. He's a much older golfer, and he had his son in his bag, and he shot the best 36-hole record in any tournament there's ever been. Can't remember the score now, like 18 under or something daft. Like, there was a lot of talk about, but he's under no pressure. Like, he's made his millions, he's comfortable. And do you see, is there a cut point where these tour pros just, once they've made enough and they're comfortable, they just go into cruise control?
No.
Like a DJ. Is he not just in cruise control, or a Mickelson not just in cruise control? Because they've made the money and it's like there's no pressure now. But what I'm saying about cruise control, they've still got to put the effort and the hard work in, but they're not playing for the mortgage anymore. They're not playing for... Like,
yeah, but sorry, I went too close to the mic. Yeah, but imagine, like, let's just change the scenario. Let's put YouTube now. You're the #1 golf YouTuber. You've hit over 1 million subscribers, etc. Everybody else that makes golf YouTube videos kind of looks up to where you are, but you still want to produce the best videos that get the most views. You've always got something to aim at, haven't you? So
I do, but in I'm not as, I don't feel as under pressure. And we can do nicer things. Like, we built the studio. Like, it's almost like we can push the envelope a little bit more now. We can be a little bit more brave or confident in what we do because we know what works. Like, if this was a start-up YouTube channel and we had to fork out this much money to pay for the studio and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I suppose you wouldn't do that if it started, would you? If it was a start-up YouTube channel, you wouldn't have probably the funds to invest. You'd just be going off, like, it'd be more fun, if anything.
But that's what I'm saying, as a start-up tour pro, you can't just go in, you can't just cruise around. Like, every single bit that you spend, every month, everywhere you eat, everywhere you stay, the way you travel to locations, like, all of that has an influence on your golf outcome.
I suppose it's different pressure then. Like I said, if you're a European Tour pro battling for your card, your pressure is literally, like I said, paying your mortgage, paying your bills, etc., surviving. Whereas, DJ, Rory don't have that pressure. But for them, they've got other aspirations. They've got being the leading money winner.
No question.
They've got winning the most majors, beating Tiger, beating Jack Nicklaus's record, whatever it might be. That must be a different type of pressure.
But they're almost like outcome pressures. They're almost like goal pressures, as opposed they're achievable pressures, as opposed to down on the other side. It's like you're fighting for your dinner. Like, they're really like negative pressures.
Yeah, but another thing as well, I think that's how we would see this. But a lot of these guys wouldn't get to the level they're at if they got so bogged down. Do you get what I mean? Because if you... I've got a negative mindset on the golf course. I think you have to a certain degree. If you run the European Tour thinking, I need to play well today, I need to play well today, I need to play well today, the chances are you wouldn't play well, you wouldn't be on... You'd lose your card. I mean, you wouldn't have got to being on tour. Because we saw at Q School how much pressure there actually is. But you can't let it affect you, else you won't play well, will you? So I suppose they can just... The good ones, or the ones that even considering it on the European Tour, have to be able to manage that pressure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be really interesting, though, if you went to tour school, and if you planted... You didn't almost do it publicly, and you said to 10 players, you handpicked 10 players, and said, you've been chosen, okay, for the next 5 years, I'm gonna give you 5 million to get through the next 5 years for, right? Let's say you pick 10 players. Do you think you'd see those 10 players ranked higher in the leaderboard because there's like less pressure for the future?
But what if they stop practicing because there's no pressure?
Or maybe 5 million's too much. But
that's the point. The pressure is what, again, if you use it positively, is what causes you to go and practice and grind, because you know you have to go and spend an hour on the putting green after a tournament because you need to get better at your putting. If there's no pressure, you're not going to bother.
True.
That's why you, like, because you've got no pressure on the podcast, you rock up here late, you just do what you want. Whereas a young Rick Shiels...
Yeah, but then I'm chilled with it as well. Like, I'm confident.
And that gives you a better performance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where if I was like uptight and like super early this morning, I'm like, oh my God, is everything all right? The camera's definitely working. You know, is this...
You wouldn't be the same.
No. I do think, like, again, if it was me, I would be much, much more comfortable playing it as a competitive level, where I thought, you know, I can go out and try and shoot the lights out here, because it doesn't really matter if I don't shoot the lights out, because I can just do it again next week, or I can do it again the week after, or, you know, I've stayed in this lovely hotel, I've travelled via private jet.
But think of the ego as well of Rory. Rory obviously doesn't really matter if he misses the cut because he's a millionaire, but his ego's not going to want to miss the cut.
Yeah.
So it's just different, isn't it? Like you said, it's different. The pressure that Rory has, and I don't know, it's different.
Quick one. I don't...